Hey y'all, so we are going to tackle the age-old question, or the age-old statement rather, of I just don't have time. We've all been guilty of saying it. However, only about 5% of the people actually fall into the category of I don't have time. So we're going to take an inventory of our time, and I'm going to kind of walk you through exactly how to tell if you're wasting time or if you really are full to the max. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling like you are doing all the things, then this is for you. Hey Esther, hey Beach Street Collections, One Tour Company, how are y'all? So if you're hopping on here live, go ahead and drop me down where you're watching from, and then drop me down a 1 if you've ever felt like, or maybe you've ever said it, I just don't have time. In case you're new here, I'm Tanya Johnson. I am the founder of the Helping Hearts Homeschool as well as the Boss Mom Company. I am sipping on some yummy pink collagen. I do not sell this. Rachel Hughes actually sent this to me. I'll link her down below. We just finished out a cookout. So instead of having like a really sugary drink, I mixed this up because it tastes like pink lemonade and I'm getting the collagen at the same time. So it kind of seemed like a win-win to me. Healthy and still tasted like summer. I am in South Carolina, so it's like 80 degrees right now. So we were just hanging out at the pool for a little bit. What we are going to do today, first off, I want you to ask yourself the question, what is it that you want more time for? So for me, when I first took inventory of my time, I was a college student and I wanted more time to be able to actually pass my classes. I was taking too many classes. I was working full time. I was trying to have a social life. To be honest, I just wasn't managing things very well because I was a new college student. I was 16 years old and I'd never really been taught time management. So I was a little out of the loop. Maybe you are like, man, maybe I'm a homeschool mom and I feel like I'm not doing a great job homeschooling. I feel like I'm not getting the curriculum done. I feel like I'm not sitting down and actually doing school every day, and I feel like I just don't have time. Maybe that is your why behind why you need more time. Maybe you're trying to build a home-based business. Maybe that's your why. You want to start, but you just feel like you do not have time. I could go on and on. Maybe you don't have time for self-care. Maybe you don't have time for date nights. Maybe you don't have time to work out. Maybe you don't have time for more fun. Maybe you want more fun in your life. And maybe you don't have time for leisure time. Reading a book, slowing down, enjoying your life. So whatever it is, and what did I miss? If one of those resonates with you, drop it down in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, I will absolutely go back in the comments and chit chat with everybody. I love connecting with you guys on there. And if you're watching on Instagram, same thing. Drop down in the comments, what is it that you wish you had time for? Or what is the last thing that came into your life that you said, oh man, I wish I could, I just don't have time. So we're going to take down inventory. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to write down every single thing that you do in a week and how much time it takes you. Now, I know that can seem daunting almost. It can seem like a lot of work, but I promise you it is a necessity. Necessary. It's necessary. In order to get a handle on your time, first you've got to see where is it going in the first place. So I'll just tell you what I wrote down, and then a lot of you're going to have a lot of the same stuff that I have, and then you'll probably have a few things that are different. So working out, I try to do that for 6 days a week, and typically it's a 90-minute segment. Now that includes getting ready to go to the gym, actually going to the gym, working out, and coming home and changing. So it's not just working out. But I really love the process. It makes me feel really, really good. So I like to do that first thing in the morning. So that takes 9 hours per week. Journaling and devotions would be an hour a day for 7 days, so 7 hours. School would be 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I wrote down 15. And that's homeschooling, in case anyone's watching this and doesn't know. Leisure time, I schedule in an hour a day, 6 days a week. And that's just for me to swim, to do an art project, to make a card. It's just for me to do something that I want to do that's fun, or to like play a game with my kid, or watch a movie with my husband or something like that. So that averages out to, or that is 6 hours a week. Showering and get ready. So the way I broke this down is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I give myself 30 minutes. I don't typically wear makeup or do my hair. We spend most of the day at the pool, so I don't need to like get ready. I just need to be clean, like brush my teeth, wash my face, take a shower, that kind of stuff. And then Wednesday and Sunday, I schedule in 2 hours because I actually get ready because we go to church on those days. So that equals out to 6.5 hours in the week. We spend about 9 hours a week at church between Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Bedtime routine is 30 minutes, 6 days a week, and that's with my daughter. So that's 2.5 hours for the week. Meal prep, I grill all of our protein every week as well as a bunch of veggies. So that takes about 2 hours a week. Daily meals, it takes me 30 minutes a day to get all of our meals ready because we've already got all the main stuff grilled. It's just assembling things. So 3.5 hours per week for that. Date night, once a week, I schedule in 4 hours. We like to have like a fun family date. School prep takes an hour a week, which is just scheduling my curriculum for the next week. Writing out my schedule for the next week, tweaking things takes an hour a week. I sleep 6 hours a night for 7 nights, so 42 hours sleeping. And then housework, I schedule in an hour a day. So an hour a day, 7 days a week, so that's 7 hours. So looking at my schedule and knowing everything I need to do every single week, how long it takes me, I spend 168 hours. Or we have 168 hours, rather, is what I meant to say. We have 168 hours in a week, and I use everything except 52.5 of them. So I still have over 50 hours in a week after I've gotten all of my stuff done. Now, I typically right now I'm working 30 to 40 hours a week. I do work from home, but I do work. So a lot of that is spent in content creation. Right now, I've got a course that I'm putting out. So a lot of work. However, that still leaves me between 12 and 22 hours per week that are not scheduled. And by the way, a couple hours a day is a very good buffer to have because one, the little things are going to add up. So even just things like going to the bathroom, making your coffee, filling up your water bottle, transitioning from one task to the next. And then also, especially if you have kids, a good reason to have a buffer in there is to deal with tantrums or discipline time or spontaneous time with your husband. Like, those things are important, and those are the things that cannot be scheduled. So I would have 2 to 3 hours every day that's not scheduled as a buffer if you possibly can. Hello. So at that point, I'm looking at my schedule, and I have a really good handle on my time, and I'm happy with it. I've got plenty of time for everything I want to do, plus everything I need to do. Now, here's the thing. The first time I did this task, I found out that I wasted a lot of time. I found out most of my time was being wasted with, okay, actually I've done this 2 times. I found out I wasted time. The first time I was in college, so most of my time was being wasted just like chit-chatting, random times that I could have been studying or doing, a paper here or filling out a questionnaire there or whatever I needed to get done. The second time I did it was when I first started working from home, and I just felt like I had started homeschooling, and I just felt like I couldn't handle everything. I was doing way too much. So I sat down and did this, and I realized I was watching a lot of TV, like a lot of TV. And I would tell myself I would multitask, and I'd be watching while I was working. That's not a thing. So I just found out I was watching a lot of TV. The point is, you got to write down everything. Now, here's the thing. Some of y'all have trouble with the first step because you don't even know where your time's going. You could not tell me exactly what you do every single day, let alone every week, and how much time it takes. That is the definition of insanity. In order to have a handle on your time, you have to know where your time's going. So, I will tell you, I've done this multiple times. So, don't expect to be perfect at it as soon as you do it. I kind of use the analogy of walking a dog. And you're the dog, by the way. Time is the dog, by the way. So either you're walking the dog, you're telling the dog where to go, or the dog is dragging you around because it weighs 100 pounds more than you do and has no discipline, and you are fighting to stay afloat, fighting to stay on your feet, fighting not to be dragged through the mud. So you get to choose. You get to choose if you're in control of your time and you're telling it where to go, or if your time is dragging you around through the mud and you're having scraped up knees. So that's the awesome thing, is that we are all in control of this. The downside is most of us are not taught this as kids. I was not taught this until college, and then it took me a very long time to get a handle on it. And then when I switched and I stopped working for someone else and started working for myself, I had to redo it because I realized that I wasn't as disciplined as I thought. I was just really good at following directions and listening to what my boss was telling me to do as far as when to be where, how long to stay there, that kind of stuff. So what you're going to want to do is for the next couple of weeks, you're going to, if you don't know, like if you can't sit down and write down everything you do in a day and how long that task takes, and then write down the things that you do every week, you're going to want to have a notebook, and for the next 7 to 14 days, write down everything. So just as it comes. Don't worry about trying to change your schedule. Do whatever you normally would do. Write down everything. So if you get up and you make a cup of coffee and it takes 10 minutes, write that down. Write down what time you started, what time you finished. If you go for a morning run, what time did you start, what time did you finish? Break it down as detailed as possible. At the end of those 7 to 14 days, you'll see a pattern, and there's a lot of things that you repeat, even if you consider yourself a very unscheduled person. Because we all have routines that we naturally do in our life, even if we don't see them. Now, at the end of the week, you're going to take inventory, and you're going to do what I just told you to do at the very beginning, which was go ahead and add up all the hours you're using, see how many hours you have left, and ask yourself, do I really not have time? Because here's the thing. I work with a ton of clients on this exact topic of time management. My clients fall into 3 different categories. About 25% of them fall into the category of wasting time, and this again was the exact category that I fell into when I was in college, and then again when I was working from home. Wasting time, and at that point, they acknowledge it, they understand they're wasting time, and they're willing to put the work in to change. Now that, honestly, is probably one of the best case scenarios that you can have with this. Now, the second is the largest. The second category is about 80% of my clients. They fall into the category of I do waste time. It's on paper. I can see exactly where my time is going and how much of it I have left over, yet I still am not productive, but I'm in denial. So instead of fixing it and changing it, I'm going to play the victim card and act like there's just so many outside factors and I can't possibly schedule anything. Now, 80% is a really big number. But again, that typically is the reality that we live in. Now, about 5% fall into the category of I really don't have any extra time. Either you are on burnout because you have so much stuff crammed in your schedule that if one more thing was added, your entire balance would be out of whack, the balance that you don't have in the first place. I fell into that category before I started working from home. That's one reason I decided to change careers, because I was on burnout mode. I did this exercise. I had no time. I did it just to see if I was really as busy as I was feeling like I was, because again, I had done it several times in college, but this time I knew what to do. And I absolutely fell into that 5%. I had no time to do anything. And that's when I knew something had to change. Now, the flip side to that is a very small percent of the 5% really don't have time, but it's because they have pretty much a perfect schedule. And that's where I fall into right now. I am very busy, but I'm busy with things that fuel me and that fill my cup. I don't really have time to add anything extra in there, but I'm happy with my schedule. I'm not in burnout. I have plenty of leisure time. So yes, my time's accounted for, but it's accounted for in a way that's healthy for me. Now here's what happens to that very, very small percent of people that really are in that 5% of not having time and are on the flip side of my life right now, where they don't have time, but it's not stuff they want to do. It's not stuff that's fueling them. They have to make a change, or their body and their health and their finances and their marriage and their family will make them change. Because what happens is when you start nearing burnout and you are just go, 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 and you really are in that space, either your health is going to give because you're not sleeping enough, you're not relaxing enough, you don't have enough leisure time, you're going to lose your family, you're going to lose your marriage. Something is going to topple because you're trying to do too many things at once. And again, I lived in that space for a few years. It was not fun. you either have to make the change, and in order to make the change, you have to sacrifice. That's what I chose. That's what I did. And I sacrificed. I started working on social media. I busted my butt for 9 months when I did not have time. I sacrificed a lot of things. I had arguments with my husband because I did not have time to add a business onto my plate. But 9 months later, I had complete time freedom. So I don't regret it whatsoever. But I also would never want to relive it. Like, that was the hardest 9 months of my life. 9 months is a big amount of time to live in suck mode. To live like you feel like everything is sucking and you are just like pushing forward, pushing a freaking boulder up a hill. It's not fun. But I knew on the flip side what would equally not be fun is, again, losing my family or having my health fail or something catastrophic because I was pushing so hard and doing way too much and not having any control of my time. So very few people fall in with 5%. When you do, you either have a perfect schedule, which is absolutely a thing, or you're in burnout mode. Now, here is the thing. When you get really, really good at time management, sometimes you can become a part of that 5% because you over-schedule your life. And that's exactly how I got to burnout mode. I got really good at time management during college. And then when I started working and became a new mom and we were in the ministry and all the things, I just kept adding things and I got really good at juggling them. Multiple people a week would ask me, how do you do everything? How do you keep everything straight? Because I was very organized. Again, I busted my butt at everything that I did. What they didn't see was on the inside when I was having emotional breakdowns every couple of weeks because I was so tired and so exhausted. My anxiety was through the roof and I was honestly hating my life. So keep that in mind. Just because someone's really, really good at time management does not mean that they're living in a healthy way. So you may look at your schedule and say, yeah, I'm at the 5%. Everything is like scheduled to the max. I don't have time for anything else. But if you don't have a balance of leisure and fun and relaxed time and just that time to like decompress and really sit with your thoughts, then you are in burnout mode. You may not feel it yet. The first time I was told I was in burnout mode, I was like, oh, you're crazy. You're saying that because you're lazy and you can't do as much as I can. That's why. And turns out they were right and I was wrong. Now that I'm in the 5%, but I'm having pretty much the perfect schedule. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying the balance I have of everything is pretty much perfect. And that's what I teach my clients to have. That means you may not be as productive as you once were. And that's okay. You get to pick and choose what you are productive at. And you get to pick and choose what your priorities are. That's the whole point of owning your time. You get to choose where that time goes. Now, that's one reason that I am so passionate about teaching other women how to make money from social media and free up their time. Because I know what it's done for me. I know what it has done for hundreds and hundreds of other families over the last 7 years. And I know what it can do for you. So that is one reason. That's where my passion comes from. Now, next time, this is going to be part 1. So this is part 1 of I don't even call it a time management series. It's a mini series. It's just something I wanted to run with. It's something I'm super passionate about. I haven't talked about time management for a little bit on here, so I figured I would hop on. This is part 1. Part 2, so next time that we go live on this page, is going to be talking about the 5 ways that you could free up more time into your schedule without having a career change. So tune in, and until next time, this is Tanya Johnson, and I'm coming to you from the homeschool trenches because I am right alongside with you. Have an awesome rest of your day.